Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this halter top. It has this really cool see-through cutout and it's really easy to do. So I hope you guys enjoy it and let's get into the tutorial. So for this project I'm going to be using a 5mm hook and I'm using, this is I believe a weight 5, 100% cotton, but as you can see it's like t-shirt cotton, like it's already, I don't even know how to explain this, but I got this at Michael's and I thought it was just so beautiful, and it really is. I already made a top out of it. It just honestly makes like the coolest like bulky style kind of top. I don't know, I'm in love with it. If you're not using this, I would still use a weight 4, just like a medium size weight yarn, and honestly that will work for this project as well. You could really use any yarn you want, but just make sure whatever weight yarn you're using, you use the recommended corresponding hook size for that. So this is just what I'm using. I believe it is weight 5. So all I'm gonna do to get started is make a slip knot. So then you're going to start just making a basic chain. This chain is going to hit just slightly above your belly button, and you're going to want it to wrap completely around the front part of your torso and slightly into your sides. So whatever length that is for you. I'm going to be making a small, and I'll let you know how many chains that ends up being for my size if you want to copy what I'm doing. So I did do a total of 45 chains for my initial base chain. Then all I'm going to do is chain an additional 2. I'm going to block that very last chain with my finger, wrap the yarn around the hook, go through that last chain. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is a double crochet. You're going to be repeating that, wrapping the yarn around the hook, going through the very next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're going to be placing 1 double crochet in every chain in this row until we reach the end. So once you have your first row done of double crochet, I reached the end. All I'm going to do is fold this in half and figure out what the middle chain is. So if you don't have an even number, that's totally fine. It's not going to affect the top that much. So either put a chain marker or just pull apart the chain a little bit so you know to stop there. Now we're going to start triangling off the cups and then making the design in the middle. So we're going to start this on the second row. So make sure that you mark whatever the center chain is. To get started on round 2, just going to chain 2, flip over my work, and then I'm going to be doing double crochets. This chain right here is the chain that's connecting to the chain 2, which counts as the first double crochet. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around my hook and go into the next one to start my row. So now I'm just going to place 1 double crochet in each chain until I reach the chain that I marked to be the middle. So now that I have reached the middle chain, all I'm going to do is, I have my double crochet and the chain before it. All I'm going to do is chain 1, prepare for a double crochet, skip the chain that we had marked as the middle and go into the chain after it. Place your double crochet there. Okay, so then now after we have that, we're just going to go right back into regular double crochets, placing 1 double crochet in each chain until you reach the end of row 2. So now I've reached the end of row 2. So for row 3, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to start decreasing on the outsides. So I've chained 2. To decrease, all I'm going to do is wrap the yarn around the hook, place it through the very first chain, yarn over, pull through. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, go right into the very next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's going to decrease 1 chain from the edge of our halter top. So now all I'm going to do is place 1 double crochet in each chain until I reach the chain before the space that we created. So I'm going to stop a chain before this, so on this chain. So now I've stopped 2 chains before the very center. All I'm going to do is chain 1, skip over the very next chain, and then go through just the center. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then all I'm going to do is chain 1, skip over the very next double crochet, place a double crochet in the chain after. Then I'm just going to continue the row as usual until I reach the end. I am going to decrease at the end too. So once you reach the end, you're going to want to stop 2 chains before the end. Wrap the yarn around your hook, go through the very first chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, then go straight into the very last chain. And sometimes it is kind of tricky to get into this chain, but just do your best. Yarn over, pull through, and then finish the double crochet. So then once we are finished with that row, I'm just going to chain 2, flip over my work to begin on the next row. So from here on out, we are going to be decreasing in the first and the last chain of every row. So here I'm just going to place my decrease in the first 2 chains. Once you have that, just place 1 double crochet in every chain until you reach the chain before the 2 spaces. So you're going to stop on that second chain there. So now that I have reached the chain before the space, we are going to be skipping that chain. So just chain 1, place your double crochet, skipping over the next double crochet, going straight through the square beneath it. Then again, chain 1, skip over the next square or the next double crochet and place it in the square. So as you can see, we are going to be increasing these spaces every row. Chain 1, skip over the last double crochet, place it in the chain after. So yeah, every row you're going to be adding 2 more squares to that square pattern design. Then you're just going to be placing 1 double crochet in every chain until you reach the second to last chain where you will decrease. So now I'm just going to be placing my decrease, wrapping the yarn around the hook, going through the next chain, pulling through 2, going through the next chain straight away, pulling through, and then placing the last double crochet. So for the next row, you're just going to repeat that same thing. Chain 2, place a decrease, place 1 double crochet in each chain until you reach the chain before this square in the previous row. We're going to be adding 2 squares each row you go. So that's basically going to be the pattern for this entire top. It gets really repetitive. All you're doing is continuing the decrease in the first and last chain, continuing adding 2 extra squares. So yeah, I'm not going to film this entire top. I'm just going to kind of skip ahead. I'm going to do the next couple of rows until I reach towards the top of the halter top. So as you can see, I continued it, and one side only has 3 double crochets and the other side has 4 because my top was not an even number. If that happens, it's okay. It's not ideal, but it's okay. It won't really affect the look of the top that much. But for the side that I have 4 chains left, you still want to skip the very last double crochet before the squares. So all I'm going to do is just place a double crochet, chain 1, and then go right into the square pattern, just because you want your square pattern to align. I hope that makes sense, but if you have to skip a decrease in one side, if you don't have an odd number of double crochets, that's totally fine. That's what I did here. So I'm just going to continue my square pattern across until I reach the other side. So now I'm going to show you, I'm still going to be skipping the very next double crochet, and then I'm just going to go straight in with another double crochet. So I wasn't decreasing on the very top row, just so that my square pattern would align. But now we are back to being even. On both sides we have 2 double crochets at the end. So now I'm just going to chain 2, and I'm going to continue just the square pattern while still decreasing. So I'm going to do a few more rows of this. So I'm going to decrease in the first 2 chains of the square, but I am going straight through the first square to finish my decrease. Then I'm just going to jump right back into chaining 1, skipping over the double crochet, and placing a double crochet through the square beneath it. So now I'm just going to be continuing the square pattern all the way across until I reach the last 2 chains of the row, where I will be placing my decrease. So now that I have the last 2 chains, I'm just going to place a decrease, then you'll be done with this row. And I think I will do a few more rows of just the square pattern while decreasing in the first and last chain. So I'm going to chain 2, flip over my work, placing a decrease. So for the square pattern decrease, the second chain, you're just going straight through the square beneath it, so don't forget. Then chain 1 and then just continue the square pattern. So that's all I'm going to be doing for the remainder of this pattern. I'm just going to add a few more rows of these squares with a decrease in the first and last chain until I reach the length that I want for my halter top. But yeah, so now that I am finished, it is a pretty easy pattern. The only part that gets kind of confusing is if the top of the triangle cups has an uneven amount of chains, but otherwise it's not that bad. So now I'm just going to be chaining 1 and adding a row of single crochets along the top of the halter top. I'm just going to be adding an edging along the top and the sides. All I'm going to be doing is single crochets. If you want to do like a flower edging or whatever kind of edging you want to do is totally fine. I really just want to keep this top pretty plain because the thing I like about it most is the square detailing in the centers. So it's totally up to you. This is all I'm going to be doing to finish off my halter top. So now that I have reached the side, I'm just going to continue my edging of single crochets. So on the very corner, I am just going to be placing an extra single crochet in the corner to make the turn, but then I'm just going to continue down. There's not definitive chains along the side, so if you don't want your halter top to kind of cinch up too much, maybe add 2 single crochets in the same chain because you are crocheting down the sides of a double crochet, so that's technically a 2 chain space. So I hope that makes sense, but you just want to fill out the side and make a nice edging. So I'm just going to continue my way down the halter top with single crochets. So now that I've reached the bottom, if you want to add an edging along the bottom of the halter top, you totally can. I think I am just going to leave it plain because I do want this to just kind of be a plain halter top. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to continue that same thread and then just start chaining off the very bottom. This is going to add my strap. I'm probably going to do 60 to 70 chains just to make it a long strap. But it's up to you how long you want them to be. If you want it to be thicker, once you get the length that you want, you can chain 1 and then crochet back down the strap, adding single crochets to make it a thicker strap. But I'm just going to keep it a 1 chain strap. So yeah, that's all I'm going to be doing. So then I just cut and tied my strap. Then all I'm going to be doing is reattaching my yarn on the opposite side of the bottom of the halter top. So I'm just placing my hook through the very corner chain. I'm going to bring my yarn through and then make a double knot. So then I am just going to continue the single crochet edging. So just chain 1 and then start placing the edging along the other side. Once I reach the top, I'm just going to continue this same thread without cutting, and I'm just going to chain off and make the strap on the top. Then I'm going to reattach it to the other side, the last 2 sides, to make the straps. So that's basically it. Once you're finished with the edging and the straps, you're pretty much done with the halter top. But yeah, I hope you guys like this tutorial. I'm sorry that I can't be more specific with my pattern or more accurate with the number of chains. But yeah, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you have any suggestions for tutorials or patterns that I should come up with next, please always leave me suggestions. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.